So this is your standard 130 barrel transport that we use around here in the San Juan Basin. And when you walk around this transport, this is going to be very familiarized with any other one we have around here. Any company uses the same ones, roughly the same. Some of the plumbing may be different, some of the loading locations may be a little different, but really in general, they're all the basic same transport. On this particular transport, we have a blow down or a drain valve for the front scrubber. That's your scrubber. That is to catch excess fluid, so it can be drained out properly. We do have a drain here, which also doubles as a blow down. So you can open that up and you can hear it coming there. Your pipe works go back to the center. This one goes back to your main pump. Operates towards the center here. You have a load valve here, and on the other side, right here in the middle, one here and one on the other side, they connect and go into the tank. We have two load valves in the back. They come back here. This is your entry manhole here. You've got your sight tube right here. You can see how much fluid you got. You've got a blow down vent right here. You can blow your tank down from the back, or you can do it in the front as well. Your gauge, this is your vacuum pressure gauge. This gauge tells you how much you've got. We're at 10 pounds vacuum at this point, so we can check the thing for leaks, the manholes, the upper holes, everything. So we're at -10 right now. You want to watch that all the time. You don't want to get past 20 most of the time. There is a pressure and vacuum relief valve located on the top of the tank in the front. So if you do accidentally get too far either way, it will relieve itself. Those are your safety valves up there. Everything you see here is the basic thing you would see on most of them. Nothing's really different. This has a self-contained engine and vacuum pump system here. This runs off a diesel engine, PTO, belt driven, which is pretty standard on some of the models. A lot of others have hydraulics. This one is belt. Your function arm is up here. You pull it that way. You build pressure that way. This is your neutral. You go that way to build your vacuum. And this can be plumbed either way, so depending on how that's plumbed is how your handle works. They're normally decaled here, which we'll put them on there, but it's a pretty basic operation. And some of the problems with this is everything's different. You know, this has your PTO, your mechanical PTO. If it was truck mounted, you'd have a switch in your truck. You'd depress your clutch if it's a manual transmission, and you'd hit your PTO switch, ease out on the clutch slowly, then that would engage your PTO and automatically kick your pump in. Whereas this one is a manual lever style. You shove it forward and that engages your clutch here and kicks that in. And then you've got others, you know, you got your hydraulic, your driveline driven, and your belt driven. But the basic principle is all the same. You know, they all work the same way. And then you set your engine RPM up where you need to be to maintain your pump rotation to offload or unload or load your pump. Some of them, we have this opening on top because there are places that want you to stick the tank. They call it sticking the tank, and you actually stick it to see how much you got. But with the sight tube on this, I don't know why you'd ever have to get up there. There's no reason a driver should have to be up there unless there's a catastrophic failure in a seal, where they would have to take the wing nuts off and put the seal back in and recheck it for leaks. But other than that, I don't see why you would ever have to be there. That's more for the mechanical repair side of it and clean out if you have to get a cleaning crew in there to clean it out. On the back of all these units, we have a grounding reel here. It's a grounding cable that's retractable. Some of them aren't quite like this. Some of them are just attached to the back and wrapped here. But every time you back up to a location or area that you're loading or unloading, this needs to be pulled out and attached to the area that you're hooking your hose up to. This is to stop your static electricity charges and ignition issues that we have on locations with flammable materials. That's very important. If any of that is damaged, you need to get that repaired right away. It needs to be repaired. That's a very, very important part of this unit right here. This lower valve and that upper valve are basically there to isolate this in case you have a failure in that sight tube. And then you can just take those off and you can open up the bottom drain actually and drain it out. And then you can do your maintenance work on that, replace it, repair it, reseal it, whatever you need to do on that part of it. And you can also use this to help blow your tank down, but it's kind of more recommended to use it through there. It's a lot better. And that's really just to drain your stuff out. And that's only if you have a problem with that.
That one and you have any liquid in the tank, you're going to be getting liquid out.
Yeah, if you don't shut this, if you accidentally kick that open, you're going to get whatever's in that tank coming out of there. So it's really, and to be honest, on most of ours, we have a plug in there. You know, we just put a plug in there to keep that closed just in case there's an accidental trip on that and somebody opens it. Yeah, really a lot of people use that to help. You know, they just kick all the valves open to get their air out of them, but it's really there for mechanical reasons, maintenance reasons. These caps are real important. You always want these tied in with a cable. You know, you're always taking these on and off. It's a common issue for these to disappear. So you always want them tied to the valve flange. So when you take these off to put your hose on and off, that these don't get, you know, because when you're going down the highway, you really need these plugged so you don't have any spillage going on the road or anywhere. These are real important. Make sure your ears are good and in check. There's no leaks on them.
And both
real
of these
important.
work the same?
They both work the same.
One's got a female and one's got a male.
Yep. And then we have this valve under here. See these valves under here? When you have your hoses hooked up, you've got two bleed off valves right here. The reason for these valves is when your hose is hooked up to the other side and you shut your valves off, you always have a certain amount of pressure in these. So these valves right here should be opened up before you unhook your hoses to make sure any pressure that's built up in here is relieved. So when you release these ears off your hose, you don't have blowback and that hose doesn't hit you. So it's real important that these are on here. It's a real good deal to have these. Both of them have them, and if there's any damages to these or anything, you need to get them fixed right away. When you've got a vacuum on it, it's real important to try to do that. Keep it open and crack that side, and it causes that suction to go in there. And then you isolate these. And then before you unhook your hose, make sure you don't have your pressure in there or vacuum.